All right, this is the Theorem, even though I can't say it. Pythagorean theorem for beginners. It's all Danaz's fault. He's confusing me. All right, name the hypotenuse of the right triangle. Okay, guys, every time you see this little square, not only does it mean 90 degrees, it makes an arrow. That arrow points directly to the hypotenuse of a triangle, okay? It is the longest side of a right triangle. These two are called legs. The longest side is the hypotenuse, and that's what the right angle points at. The name of this hypotenuse would be either MN or NM. Okay? All right, let's keep going and see what we can do. Okay, I'm going to show y'all how to do this my way. First of all, we all know that the Pythagorean theorem is on your formula sheet. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? And I know that if we're missing one side of a right triangle, and you should know this, that we can use that P theorem to solve. But I'm going to give you a few little rules that I prefer to use. If you are missing a leg, okay? So if you're missing a leg, you will always take the hypotenuse squared minus the leg you have squared. Then you're going to square root that answer, and you're going to end up with your leg, okay? Now, if you're given two legs, that's not the case here, but if you are ever given two legs, you're going to square one leg, add it to the second leg squared. Whatever that answer is, you're going to square root it, and you'll get the length of the hypotenuse. So in this case right here, I'm going to come over to my calculator. I have a hypotenuse and a leg. So I'm going to take my hypotenuse squared, and then I am going to subtract my leg squared. And that gives me 2.17, but I'm not through yet. I need to take the square root of that answer. So this side here, this leg, would be 1.5 miles. Okay? So again, if you are given a hypotenuse and a leg, you're going to subtract hypotenuse squared minus leg squared, take the square root of the answer. If you're ever given two legs, an example you'll see coming up, then you're going to add them and take a square root. So let's go on to our next problem. This says which equation verifies the P theorem, so that means it has to look like this. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We know that this is our longest side because 20 is the longest, so we know this has to be 20 squared. So the first thing I would look for is look for a problem or an answer that has 20 squared at the end, equals. Then I would match it. 12 squared plus 16 squared is 20 squared. B is definitely your answer there. Okay, let's go on to the next one. A loading dock at a warehouse, blah, 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 blah. The ramp is 16, the end of the ramp is 14. What is the height of the loading dock? I'm going to look at this. See my right angle? It's pointing at my hypotenuse, and I have a leg, and I'm looking for the other leg, which means I'm going to take my hypotenuse squared and subtract the leg I have squared. Go to the next line, square root my answer, and that means that that loading dock there is, said round to the nearest whole number, so 7.7 would round to an 8. And that would be your answer. Again, you took 16 squared, subtracted 14 squared, and you got 60. You take that square root, and you're going to get 7.7, but we rounded it to 8 feet. Okay? All right, so let's go on to the next one and see what we can do. Okay, again, we got another problem. This one's asking for the length of GH, which is a hypotenuse. So this time we're given two legs. What do you do when you have two legs? You square it plus leg squared square root of your answer. So let's go ahead and try that in our calculator. 6.3 squared. We're going to add 7.2 squared. And then we're going to go to the next line and take the square root of our answer. And that leaves us with a length for GH of 9.6 meters. Okay? Always just look at it. If you've got two legs, you're squaring them, adding them, taking the square root of the answer. If you have a hypotenuse and a leg, hypotenuse squared minus leg squared, take the square root of your answer. All right, next video will be intermediate.